So what about the misleading information you're getting from a subject? Is that deception or is it just perception? Let's find out. Welcome back to tip number 79 of our 101 tips for interviewing and interrogation, interviewing tips and techniques. This is tip number 79, and we're talking about the misleading information that you're getting from a subject. Can you classify it as deception or perception? Now let's take a look at the difference of two and what may be causing this particular misleading data that you're picking up from that victim, witness, or subject. And this is the primary reason why we're looking at narrative-based interviews in the first place. With a accusatory or guilt assumptive interview, you can easily complicate the process, or you can actually further your preconception as the interviewer that you're being lied to, when in fact it's not that problem. Let's take a look. There's a difference between deception and perception. In deception, remember, this is a deliberate construct. It's a deliberate attack on the part of your subject to try to intellectually manipulate you into ignoring the conclusions you've made or conclusions you've come to, or to ignore or dismiss the evidence that already as it exists. So that there's a disruption going on in the thinking process of the subject. First, they understand what the truth is, then there is this substitute line or substitute dialogue that they're trying to perpetuate as the dialogue that you should believe, or to the reality that they want you to buy, not what really happened. But in some cases, what you're picking up when the information is misleading or misdirecting is not deception. It's the perception on the part of the subject. And we know from lots of research, and boy, you could not list all the experts in the field and area about perception and witness statements and all that type of stuff. You're just going to start looking at it and read and study that process. But there's several things that can contaminate and can taint the process of your subject's perception. Now, perception, they're not building a construct for you to try to buy and ignore the conclusions or the evidence. This is what they really believe they saw, or what they believe they've seen, or how they're interpreting it. And so it is, for them, it is a single dialogue. And we're not talking about a psychotic either, whose mind has been clouded because of a psychogenic disorder. It's not that problem. This is what I think I saw. This is what my mind is telling me. And it's, you know, the difference we have with identification of people and age and weight and height, so forth, they're always all messed up. People are never really good at that. There's a lot of interference factors that are going on in perception. There can be distractors that are out somewhere in the periphery that are contaminating or warping your subject's observation of events that they're trying to tell you about. It may also be one of their past experiences. If I'm seeing something I've never seen before, never experienced before, or have no previous interaction with, I'm doing the best I can to describe something that's brand new to me, brand new to my experiences, both intellectually as well as emotionally, and my senses are at work trying to interpret what it is I have just seen. So, and then my perception may also be warped by what I've seen in the past, and I try to parallel what that looks like, what that sounds like. So I may be having trouble in articulating exactly what's going on around me, how events progressed, etc. Over time, and over long periods of time, and for people's different avenues, different experiences, memories become a little bit clouded, and we'll start filling in kind of a retrograde memory, if you will, what we think it was, or we try to put to the own points, or pretty good points we've got, or that we know about, that we're familiar with, we try to connect it with what would make intellectual, emotional sense between the points. So you might have peaks of knowledge and gaps of a little bit of the unknown that we're trying to make sense and make coherent through this sequence of events that have occurred. My past experiences play a great deal of role. My language plays a good role. My age. What was my cognitive emotional state? Am I in a highly agitated state? Am I in a high threat state? Have I been in a very long period, yet this event occurs, very long period of high stress and awareness, and survival mechanisms kicked in? And those can have an impact on how I interpret the events. So determine whether you get deception or perception. Narrative interviews help the subject work through piece by piece. And you'll learn if as the subject is attempting to mislead you, or this is the information that they have seen, what they're aware of. Remember, The three things deceptive subjects try to alter are time, people, and places. By leaving out gaps of time, or misidentifying, mislabeling people, or misidentifying locations, perception is not going to be in that format. So take into account that just because you're getting the wrong information and it's bits and pieces, doesn't mean your subject is deliberately trying to mislead you. You may have a traumatized victim or witness. You have a problem with experiences and filtering through their own judgmental heuristics, and they're doing their best to explain to you what they have seen and how they're interpreting the sequence of those events and what their mind and emotions are saying. Slow down, take your time. This is a good narrative-based interview. Go through different modes. For example, sights only, sounds, taste, touch, smell, and so forth. Go through the narrative-based interview for emotion and cognitive elements. Go through the versatile of time. Remember the good key we talked about earlier in the time cop? Reversing the sequence of events are very good to make sure that your subject is not in the deception format, but it is literally their perception of what they see the events. What could be worse for the subject? A person who's doing their best, trying to help, being honest, and you interpret every single thing, misleading information, as an attempt to deceive or mislead the interviewer. So take a look at it and be patient and do a little reading on memory and events, particularly in trauma, officer-involved shootings, what's called flashbulb memories and so forth, and get a feel for what's happening in the subject's mind so you can appreciate what may be happening in your interview as possibly misleading information. Please be sure to hit the like button below. If you will, please, please, please share for me. Share this link, hit the link down there, share Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Share this data, share the link with other folks in your email so I can get in the information around as much as I can. We're looking right now again for filling our calendars. I've got some dates that are available. If you want some good top content training for your personnel, give me a call and let's see what we can do about adding the most innovative breakthrough interview interrogation tactics for them so they can improve the information process they're gathering from. So we come back next time for tip number 80. I'll see you then. Please be safe. This has been Stan Walters.